Hello, everybody. Welcome to Primetime Crisis. We're back for week, what is this, 19 now? And Manos will probably be late. Dan's probably going to be late. Cap's going to be joining us for Batman vs. Superman. Eric's going to be joining us for Batman vs. Superman. And so everyone's coming for the thing everyone actually wants to hear about. So today, it's just going to be me. It's going to be the Curious Low.
Hello.
And it's going to be Rasco.
Hola.
So we don't have too much to say today, mostly because everyone wants to get to Batman vs. Superman. This week we had Gotham, we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we had Flash, iZombie, Arrow, Supergirl, Lucifer, The Walking Dead. Did we have Star Wars? I didn't watch Star Wars. I don't think we had Star Wars.
I don't know. Typically we have Dan for these scenarios.
Exactly. Oh well, that's fine. So we'll try to cover everything as quickly as possible. Rasco, did you watch anything this week?
You can bet your butt I didn't.
I had a feeling. I figured I'd ask anyway. Lo, what was your favorite thing from this week?
I don't know. I actually think I'm going to say Flash.
Nice.
I really enjoyed this week's Flash. I don't know. Ever since we got the Earth 2 episodes, I've been really digging where everything's going, and I feel overall like the certain characters, mostly just Caitlin, aren't pissing me off as much. So, yeah, I really like this week's episode, and it's more so that a couple of things in The Walking Dead made me really mad, and a couple of things in IZombie made me, not mad, but, like, off-put me a little bit. So, since those are my normal go-tos, Flash was on top.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, Flash I thought was really good this week.
Yeah.
I liked iZombie, but it ended on a really depressing note. Like, just really depressing.
Yeah.
So I think this week I'm going to go ahead and pick Supergirl. Supergirl was a lot of fun. That show has that ability to put you in a good mood no matter what. Like, no matter how dark the episodes get, it's a feel-good ending. I'm not crazy about the stuff we're doing with Lucy, but I love everything with Martian Manhunter. I love all the flashback stuff. I like some of his origins on Earth. And the more we see that special effect, the more he looks like Martian Manhunter. Like, early on it looked okay, but like as it goes on, we see more and more texture to him. It really feels like he's there. It's kind of crazy that we can do that on TV on a regular basis now. And like 10 years ago, we couldn't do any of that. Like Smallville couldn't do half of what Supergirl is doing.
Well, it also seems like the special effects people on Supergirl have really started to hit their stride.
Yeah.
Like, you know, in those first couple episodes that we saw Martian Manhunter, like, the effects were kind of okay, but, like, they've definitely got stuff down. I don't know. It seems like they're evolving.
Also, even the action scenes, like, they progressively get better, so that's cool. Yeah, but I like Supergirl a lot. Everything else was just okay. Arrow was the only thing that I thought was outright terrible, but that's because it's Arrow. And I don't remember the last time it was good. Rasco, so do you have any questions for anything that we talked about so far?
Yes, we do. This is from Omari Daniels, iZombie question. Do you think either Blaine and or Major will die by season's end due to the temporary effects of Ravi's cure? Ravi, I don't know. I don't watch the show. I don't know these names.
I think yes, and I think Major. I was predicting that Major would die at the end of season 1, and I'm honestly really surprised that he made it through. I'm glad he did, but I think Major is not long for this world.
Yeah, and considering we already did the whole Blaine's dead, not dead thing just a couple episodes ago, I figure it's going to be Major. If it's not Major, I don't know who else it could possibly be. It feels like they're doing a really big finale with the way the season's building up. They killed, I'm not sure if necessarily killed, but they turned the CEO's daughter into a zombie at this point, right? Like, that whole thing where she was being mauled apart by one, like, that was really, really dark.
Oh, man, when she's like banging on the glass door, being like, let me in, I was like, ah. Like, I already didn't like her, but now it's like, I don't know. It became, as opposed to, like, not liking her because I just don't like her character, to more that I'm actually starting to like her character, and it's interesting, and I don't like her like I'm supposed to. I don't know. It's a different type of dislike.
I think part of what sold me is the CEO guy's acting, because he's just been a jerk this whole show, but when he's looking at his daughter and his eyes are tearing up and he's still left her there, like, that's crazy good. Yeah. I really, really liked him. And just the whole horror zombie scenario thing, like, that's the scariest this show's ever been. It kind of felt like a Walking Dead episode for a while there.
It did. I was honestly like, well, this is the first time somebody's really been in danger because of the zombies since, gosh, what was that, episode 2 of season 1 when they found that zombie in the, like, ground that was, like, her friend? Yeah. I can't think of another time that people have really been in danger because of zombies, which is weird for a zombie show. But I'm glad they don't use it too often because of episodes like this where it was really intense and you sat up and listened because we don't see this very often.
The show's just got so much momentum, right? Like the last 2 or 3 episodes, every one of them ended with some kind of punch. One of them literally. So I really appreciate that, especially when you watch something like Arrow and Flash, or even when the episodes that come back from break are good. They're always kind of like, okay, we're on break, let's get back to where we were. This show never loses this momentum. It's great.
Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously it picks up right where we left off with Blaine having just come back from the dead and is back to being a zombie, and now we have a ticking time bomb with him, and I really bought that he would end up using that last resort cure by the end of that episode.
Yeah, no, that was great. Rasco, any other questions?
Yes, this is from Robert Emmett. Was anyone else like me where you couldn't take the last scene of Flash seriously because it reminded you of the time in Big Bang Theory Sheldon imagined himself as the Flash running to the Grand Canyon to yell because Leonard messed with the thermostat?
I don't watch that show.
I don't watch that show either.
So no, I actually really bought it because it's basically exactly what happened with season 1 from Barry's perspective, right? Like he looked up to this guy, he mentored him, they had a bond, and then he turns out to be the bad guy, and he can't deal with it. I thought it actually looked really well.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the scream at the end was a little over the top, but I really liked everything having to do with trajectory, and like I bought her. I don't know, like I think she did a good job of kind of being like slightly unhinged and then just being crazy when she was trajectory, but
I like that actress. I like that costume a lot too. I thought
her hair looked awesome as trajectory with like the sideways like diagonal cornrows. They were cool.
Yeah, she felt like a comic book character right off the page. Like it's such a silly but cool costume.
Yeah. And I liked that it was like she obviously designed it based around Barry's Flash outfit, but it's still tweaked to suit her.
Yeah, and it's also got like an actual track feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Roscoe, any other questions?
Hawkflame asks, what are your thoughts on the themes explored in this week's Supergirl? I like the idea of secret identities really being there as a way of coping with sacrifice.
Yeah, that was the main thing I picked up on with that. The whole idea that Martian Manhunter doesn't have an identity, and so his secret identity becomes his public one too, and so even though he's being his true self as Hank Henshaw, he's still not. And so much of that has to deal with how he's able to organize relationships with other people, and even if it's a fake face, it still means something, like the whole idea that you're a different person with your friends than you are with your parents, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're hurting either one of them. It's just you're different. And doing that with Martian Manhunter is brilliant.
I didn't watch Supergirl this week, so I don't know.
That's fine. You would have really
get to it. I know. I just ran out of time. I was working a ton this week, so I didn't get to that or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which are both shows that I really enjoy, but I tend to watch the ones I don't like first, and then the ones I do like for the end.
I loved Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. too. It's kind of the backdoor pilot for that Marvel's Most Wanted show, so it was mostly Bobby and Hunter.
Yes! I love Hunter.
There's a really sad ending to that episode, too.
Oh, I'm so excited to watch it now. And please, feel free to spoil. It's okay. It's my own fault.
No, but it was good. It was probably the best episode aside from the one where Simmons is trapped.
Nice. Ooh, now I'm really excited.
Yeah, but no, Supergirl was really good. I love everything with Martian Manhunter as always. It seems like Martian Manhunter is the Blaine for this show, where like he's the one guy that's perfect every time. It's almost like there's a different person writing him. Any other questions?
Yes, this is from Sam. So I only saw a clip of Arrow this week, but what did you guys think of the archery physics? Why Cupid shot 2 arrows in opposite diagonal directions when we see she was aiming straight ahead?
Because it's Arrow, and it does stuff like that all the time. I don't understand that scene. I don't understand it one bit, but I also don't understand the fact that Oliver and Thea can be trained by ninjas and be taken down by a crazy girl. Like, she doesn't have any training, but they still feel the need to prolong the fights. And did the same thing with Anarchy. So for that show, I just stopped paying attention when the action comes on.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Okay, this is from Carl Maxey. What do you think of getting Music Meister on Arrow and Batmite on Gotham?
I have this working theory that the reason Gotham is so insane is because Batmite's already screwing with it. As for Music Meister, that would make Arrow a whole lot more watchable. I would love Neil Patrick Harris to come in as Music Meister and just turn the whole show into a musical, like he did on Brave and the Bold.
Well, I love musicals, so I might just have to stick around for that episode.
If you watch any episodes of Batman Brave and the Bold, you need to watch the one with Music Meister because it's amazing and the songs are hilarious.
I will. I'm definitely gonna look that up.
And it's Neil Patrick Harris. Like, that guy can sing.
Oh man, MPH, all about it.
Rasco, any other questions?
Okay, this is from Keith Hastings. Do you think people will watch a Marvel's Most Wanted with just Bobby and Hunter with no real villains?
I will.
Do we know if there's no real villains, though?
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that there will be villains. Like, there has to be some sort of antagonist or something that they're working against.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know the premise of the show. I just know what's happening, and Bobby and Hunter are the leads.
Yeah, that's about all that we kind of know at this point, honestly.
Yeah, so, I mean, I imagine there will be villains. It might be more of a spy show than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is dealing with Inhumans right now. So
It'll kind of go back to what season 1, because like season 1 felt a lot more like a spy show than because you had all of the kind of intrigue with everything with Hydra and whatnot. So
yeah, no, that makes sense. So I guess we'll see how that goes. We don't really know anything about it, but I'll check it out. I like this week's episode a lot, so if that's what they're running with for the rest of the series, I'd watch it.
Yeah.
Rasco?
Question. Okay, Omari Daniels asks, what did you think of Nigma's plan to frame Gordon?
Loved it.
I had a feeling
I love everything about Edward Nigma, and I mean, like, I chose Flash as my favorite episode, but like Gotham for me was awesome this week because I love Nigma in this show, and I think he's ridiculous and adorable and a murderer and like all rolled into one. I was calling him a murder puppy on Twitter because I just don't know how else to describe him. But I loved it. I thought it was fun, and I was like intrigued and like, oh, how's it gonna turn out? What's gonna happen next? I don't know. I liked it.
The Nigma stuff was fun. I like that they're just going full-blown Riddler with him now. Like, there's not even a sense in waiting. He's already painting green
Question marks.
Like, he's just Riddler. He just needs the costume. It seems like they've really embraced that side of the show. Like, Penguin's crazier than usual. Bruce is gone. Gordon's not really Gordon at this point. But Nigma is Edward Nigma, so that's been enjoyable. And I like that actor.
I mean, is Penguin really crazier? He has a piece of paper that says he's sane.
Yeah, that's true. And we all know that pieces of paper mean everything.
Sorry.
It's absolutely true. We pay $40,000 a year for college degrees, and they're just paid for paper. Any other questions, Rasco? Maybe Walking Dead stuff so Lo can talk about what pissed her off about the episodes.
Well, you'll never believe it, but I actually had a Walking Dead question lined up.
Oh, perfect.
The next question.
I'm psychic.
Okay, this is from Proto-Myth Poetry. What does Lo think of the rumor that the Walking Dead finale might end with Negan deciding to pick who to kill as a cliffhanger?
I've been dreading this moment, and I don't want to give anything away for people who haven't read the comics, but in the comics, a character that I quite enjoy gets killed by Negan, and we've already had a couple of close calls with that character this season, and I was really hopeful that it just wouldn't happen because they've done other stuff with characters dying that weren't supposed to and not dying that were supposed to. But I'm like, maybe this character will survive, but the closer we get, the more I think that it's pointing towards this character's death, and I'm very sad. And if they make that the cliffhanger, I will be so upset.
So I've read the comics
Okay.
at least past that point, so
Yeah.
I know who it is in the comics. So you think it's going to be that person in the show is what you're saying?
I think so. I mean, they've been really setting up that character, just kind of everything that's happening with, oh my god, I'm really trying not to spoil this for people. They're setting up just things that are happening in this character's life and in their personal life that will make this character's death a major loss. And I think that I don't know. I really do think that that's the way that they're going. I mean, this character's been my favorite since fairly early on, so it'll be sad, but it'll serve the plot.
I don't know. I think that would be kind of like a waste, because they're in one of those places where it's like everyone knows what's coming if they've read The Walking Dead, and it's like, this is one of those things where it's like, well, look, we have like 3 or 4 characters that either were dead or just aren't in the comics, period, still alive at this time.
Yeah, like Daryl's still alive and kicking.
Yeah, this is the perfect opportunity to switch it up, throw somebody else in there.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. They killed a character that I really enjoyed this week, so I don't know. And the character that they killed this week is kind of in the comics, but has been very different in the show than she was in the comics. But I'm still just, I don't know. I was disappointed in this week's episode, and maybe that's just made me all negative, and I'm like, my favorite character is gonna die, but that's okay.
What's the Walking Dead ratio on that, though, of killing off characters that deserve to die versus killing off characters just for shock value?
They kill off characters that... I feel like The Walking Dead kills off... Always make sure that the characters you hate accidentally get the characters you love killed. At least that's what's happened historically.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes, like, karma will come back and kill them, but, like, they always do enough killing of other characters or accidental killing of other characters that you're begging them to kill this character, but...
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to catch up, and there's that episode where we think, what's his name? The character I really, really like, the guy that's married to Maggie.
Yeah.
Glenn. Yeah, there's that episode where it looks like he died, but he doesn't, and it's that other character that leaves him there to die, and I hate that dude.
Yeah, no, that he needed to die. Like, I liked the fact that they had Glenn kind of give him a bit of a redemption arc and sort of, like, bring him back, but then I'm so glad that he died.
Yeah. I need to finish catching up on that show, because it's getting...
You're not far behind. That was just earlier this season.
Yeah, I'm like, I think 4 or 5 episodes behind now, but that's okay. Rasco, any other questions?
Okay, this is from Robert Emmett. Supergirl question. Do you think the real Hank Henshaw will return only in a new cyborg Superman body played by Dean Cain? This would be a reference to his time as Superman and sort of a reference to the new 52 cyborg Superman being Kara's father. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking they'd do. It'd be weird to have the guy that played Martian Manhunter play both Manhunter and Cyborg Superman, but if they'd go with Dean Cain instead, I think that'd be a really good idea. Plus, he's an actor that's sometimes really good, sometimes really stale. I feel like he's better on Supergirl than he's been in years, particularly with this episode, so I'd be fine with that, yeah. Also, just seeing Cyborg Superman on screen would be awesome.
That would be cool.
Especially if he's got like the full comic book thing of like half a face is metal. I don't know how you do that and make it look cool in live action, but I want it.
Me too. Do we need another question?
Yes.
This is from Joel Davis. So where do you see Hydra going if they kill Gideon Malik?
I don't know. I've been worried about Hydra. Like, ever since we lost Baron Strucker in Age of Ultron, it just doesn't feel like Hydra matters anymore, which is a shame, because they're so big in the comics.
Yeah. Like, I feel like so much of the show is based around, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. versus Hydra. Like, that's their main plot. But I've sort of been over Hydra recently.
Yeah,
I want them to deal with at least some other things and then maybe come back to Hydra. But it feels very much like that's all that's happening right now.
Yeah, like, even with the stuff in the MCU I love, like Iron Man 3, they seem to waste those organizations a lot. Like, AIM, I'm sure, is never coming back. Hydra is basically dead. And those are the things that S.H.I.E.L.D. deals with on a day-to-day basis in the comics. Having Baron Zemo and not having Hydra and AIM to battle over is really odd.
Yeah, it's a strange place that the show is in. I'm interested to see what they do, because I don't think they can go much longer just dealing with Hydra and making us think that we're dealing with someone else, but then it actually just turns out to be Hydra again and again and again.
Yeah. Like, are they literally Hydras? They just keep coming back.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's their thing and everything, but enough is enough.
There's always a great running joke in the Brubaker Winter Soldier comic whenever he's fighting Hydra agents, where they say that Hydra's so concerned with numbers and always coming back that they don't actually train any other guys how to fight. So he's able to beat them up just by, like, one punch or standing there and telling them that. It's always fun. Any other questions, Rasco?
This is from the writer's quill. Can someone ask Steve about the wedding so we can get some good arrow bashing? I've been waiting to hear what Steve has to say about it.
So,
hey Steve, what do you think about the wedding? There. I got you, writer's quill.
So it's beyond stupid. Felicity is completely unlikable at this point. She is a horrible human being. I don't understand her logic at all. How can you be a person that says, I completely sympathize and understand the impossible situation you were put in, but I don't like you anymore because of it? That doesn't make any sense. How do you understand and then not let it go at all? And then that moment at the wedding where Oliver gives this really teary-eyed vow speech and Felicity is like puppy dog-eyeing him, but she's the one that broke up with him. I don't understand what that's supposed to mean. A lot of what they do with Felicity and Oliver now is just a matter of trying to make Oliver be broody when he's actually enjoyable, when he's having fun, and making Felicity seem like this amazing woman that everyone wants and no one can have when she's really just annoying and pompous all the time. She's just a horrible person, and she treats Oliver horribly. If Oliver stays with her, it makes him less sympathetic. Yeah, I hated all of that, and also how convenient is it that whenever Cupid needs to break up big celebrity weddings, they all happen in the same week. Okay, I'm done.
Well.
Yep, next question.
Now we know how Steve really feels.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Hawkflame. What do you guys expect from tomorrow's Flash/Supergirl crossover?
Is that tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I'm excited.
I am too. I think
it's going to be great because I think that while Flash isn't always my favorite show, it's never a show that I'm like that I hate. Like it's always like good, or every once in a while it's really great to me at least. I feel this similarly about Supergirl, if not that it's a little bit better than Flash. So I feel like both those characters are really well written, and putting them together is going to be fun, and yeah. Be nice.
Yeah, I'm excited. Flash has always been a really optimistic character. Supergirl is the epitome of optimism. I can't wait to see what they're like together. Also, just because both of those actors have those kind of smiles. Like whenever Supergirl has a smile on that show, I smile. Whenever Barry's in a good mood in that show, I kind of get in a good mood just because they're good at that. So having both those characters in the same room together is going to be fun. The tone for that's got to be ultra light.
Yeah.
Yep.
Basically excited. That's the answer to that question.
Yes, really. Rasco, any other questions?
Omari Daniels, Walking Dead question. Did any of you all see Denise's death coming?
No. In fact, I watched it right before we started recording, and if you look at my most recent tweets, I'm just like freaking out specifically about that. I honestly didn't see it coming. I think that I really, really liked her character, and I hate to see her go because she has a lot of potential, and I feel like her character arc just isn't finished. Like, she had a lot of unfinished business, and they've been building her up these last few episodes, and suddenly she's not here anymore. So I'm sad. I'm saddened by it. I've seen a lot of people freaking out about the fact that she's a queer character and that shows tend to get rid of queer characters, and I definitely do see that. I'm not necessarily going to rip into The Walking Dead for it because they've hardly had any queer characters, and we do have one. We have one that is still alive and has been alive for a while. So, I'm hoping that it doesn't become a pattern with Walking Dead. But yeah, that's mostly the reason that Walking Dead wasn't my favorite this week, just because I really loved her character and I would have loved to seen more with her. But yeah, I didn't see it coming. It was crazy the way that Arrow came through her eye and she was kind of still talking. Like you could tell that her brain was still kind of firing as she started to fall over. It seemed, I mean, not that I've ever seen anybody get shot through the head with an arrow, but it seemed realistic, I guess. I don't know what I'm basing that on.
I need to, at some point, I'm going to send you the first trade to Mike Grell's Green Arrow, because that dude's an actual hunter, and so when he draws and writes Green Arrow, he makes it so the arrow impacts feel legitimately brutal and horrific, because an arrow is some of the worst pain you can actually feel.
Ugh. I don't even want to think about it.
What haven't we talked about yet that came out this week?
Star Wars Rebels, I think.
Rebels and Lucifer.
Oh, there was only one Lucifer question I could find. I don't know who it was, but they wanted to know how you felt the season was going to end.
I don't know, actually. I've been liking that show. I think some of the developments with Lucifer as a character have been great, but like as far as an overarching plot goes, I'm not seeing too much. Like there's the stuff with Amenadiel, and there's some of the stuff with Lucifer being mortal and constantly being in danger now. The season might end with him like dying and going to hell and then working his way back out or something like that. But this isn't like Arrow. This isn't like Flash, where there's like a conspiracy plot to unravel for the whole season. So it could really go in any direction.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same way that I have been about Lucifer recently. That like it's entertaining. I don't hate it. I don't know exactly how much longer I will watch Lucifer though, because it's just kind of there. Like at least with some of the shows that I dislike, like I love watching Gotham because it's ridiculous and silly and crazy, but like Gotham is just, or Lucifer just feels like it's sort of there. I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I had that. I think I said this in a previous show where Lucifer is that show that has good writers but none of them care about it. So like they're turning in scripts that don't suck, but they don't care. So I don't really care either.
Or like they don't know where they're going. Maybe like maybe they haven't quite figured out the overarching plot. Yeah, I don't know what's happening, but individual scenes are fine. I don't know.
I like that actor. Like he's fun. I want to see him in.
Yeah. I like all the actors in this show. I'm a little interested in and again, this is another thing about this show. I can never remember anybody's names, but the girl's ex-husband,
Detective
guy. Yeah. Are we allowed to say douche on here?
I don't know. Eric says it.
But yeah, the detective guy. I'm kind of interested in his subplot with like the fact that he's the one that shot that dirty cop and like what that means. But they aren't putting enough, I don't know, stock in it, I guess. Like
yeah. I mean, it's sort of by the numbers, right? Like it feels like just a regular police procedural, and like the Christian mythological elements are playing it into it every now and then, and that's what's memorable about it. But that's not the plot. Yeah,
I mean, like it didn't even really affect the plot this week, really at all. It just in minimal ways. Unlike the episode where they went to the auction and with the wings and everything. Like that one, and that's probably been my favorite episode of the show so far because it actually had a lot to do with like Christianity and like the fact that is part of this show, that they're delving into the Bible and turning it on its head and all that fun stuff. So
I feel like they could take some notes from the first few seasons of Supernatural, honestly. Like I feel like if they went for that tone where everything's really dark and gritty, but the characters are really lively and fun about it, and they're just investigating bizarre things, almost X-Files style, it could be a more fun show to watch week to week, even if there isn't an overarching plot.
Oh man, if I could get another early Supernatural, I would be so happy.
Yeah, like I mean, they could just remake those like first 4 seasons of that show up to what they do with Lucifer. With Lucifer, from his perspective, that'd be great.
It'd be awesome. Who knows though? Maybe they'll step it up a notch. I'm willing to keep watching for a few more weeks because I don't hate it. It's not grabbing me.
It's one of those things where like reviewing it week to week on Primetime Crisis is awkward, and if I wasn't doing the show, I would have just bought the box set after the first season ended.
Yeah, or just like marathoned it on Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just one of those things. Like I like the pilot enough that I'd watch the whole season at once, not necessarily break it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, guys?
This is from William Parcell. Do you think The Walking Dead is overrated?
I mean, I don't, but I obviously really like The Walking Dead, and I'm a big fan of zombies, so I feel like I am not the right person to ask that.
I don't think it's overrated. I mean, I don't like it as much as Lo does. My issue with the show sometimes is just like, the whole idea is let's have civilization without civilization, and then they always end every season on a fatalistic note of we can't ever have what we used to have, and they do it every season. Like, and that's kind of the end note of every single season of the show, and I don't like that. But the show's not bad.
We are kind of working toward a point where civilization, not as we knew it, but like a form of civilization kind of comes back into it. The world gets a little bit bigger, I guess, is a way I could put it, for the survivors.
Yeah. And I mean, they do a really good job of fleshing out those characters so like they feel like a world unto themselves.
And I don't know, I think a lot of people talk about the Walking Dead as being overrated because I remember when season 3 ended, and season 3 had the biggest like buzzkill like tease of an ending ever because they advertised it like it was the mid-season finale of season 4. They made that, which was the big prison fight, they made that seem like what was going to happen in the ending of the 3rd season, and then it didn't happen, and then they saved it off for the 4th season, and then the second half of the 4th season they didn't have any story.
Yeah,
so
I will
say
say
a period
that
where they just messed up adapting, and they didn't allocate enough episodes for what they were adapting, I think.
Well, they've had an episode, especially early on, like season 2, where they're at the farm. They just stretched so much material into way too many episodes.
And then condensed season 3, because season 3 is like 3 or 4 volumes of the comic.
Yeah, and like both season 1 and season 2 are a volume each. So like, and season 2 is twice as long as season 1, so you've got the exact same amount of material into twice as many episodes, and they were just at a farm the whole time, and like not a lot happened.
Yeah, it's weird. They struggle with when they need to start another story that happens within The Walking Dead and where they end in the next, like in season-wise, like adapting the volumes to the show. They struggle sometimes with just how dense each season is.
I don't want this to be the answer to everything, but I almost feel like if it was a Netflix show and they just did the comic arcs a season at a time, it would be a lot better than putting it on cable where they need to get certain ratings week to week.
Yeah.
I mean, the first episode of every season is almost always like nothing. Like
they
not
have
the first
a major
episode
issue
of the first season, but like season 4, that episode was so, it could have been so much more dense. The rest of it, like, nothing happens, and like whenever you typically come back from the season break or when the season starts, especially on The Walking Dead, nothing ever happens.
There's an episode, and I'm not sure if it was in season 4. I think it was. It was when Tyrese died.
Yeah.
That like they're just like in a town, like looking around at stuff, and there's a lot of voiceover work, and like they have some real misses on The Walking Dead. Like every once in a while, I'm just like, that episode was literally nothing. Like nothing happened on that show.
The Andrea episode where she's running from the governor, that is the biggest nothing happens episode ever. Because she runs through the woods for the entire episode, gets to the prison, and then gets kidnapped like a second before she's about to be like rescued by the prisoners. But well, not the prisoners, but the people that live in the prison. It's like a second, and then the governor comes out, and he's like, no. And you're like, that episode literally
didn't matter. Yeah.
It could not have happened, and nothing would be different.
The governor season had a lot of that, though. Like, I feel like every other episode there was something where you could have just condensed.
Yeah.
Ren Davis just said that Tyrese died in season 5, so that's when that episode was. But it was so not memorable that I forgot.
Yeah, like, I just remember when they started season 4 and they had to do like the governor episodes, like what's the governor been doing all this time? Like those episodes, they had to just be like, okay, look, we messed up. Season 3 was supposed to end with the prison fight, but we messed up. We have nothing to do with the governor right now. Let's come up with this. Let's just like dig deep into our creative hearts and build this like, weird like redemption
creative
story
hearts
that has nothing to do with The Walking Dead, came out of nowhere, and then it like means like there's just like wasted episodes on The Walking Dead a lot.
I know that like with The Walking Dead, I can see why people wouldn't enjoy it, and it reminds me a lot of when Lost was on, because I always really enjoyed Lost, but I understood why people didn't like it, and especially with the ending, like hated the ending. But with both The Walking Dead and Lost, I was always more in it for like the characters than I was for like the mysteries of the island or for like the zombie fights and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think I get more out of it that way. But I can understand why if you're in it for like zombie fights. Like,
yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
Rick, for me, I just like to see like how much characters change on The Walking Dead. That's what I always come back to The Walking Dead for. Like, I love Rick. Rick is so crazy, like psychopathic sometimes. I love Rick. Rick is so awesome. I want to bite people's
there's
necks.
a lot of great characters. We should probably move on from Walking Dead since that's all we've talked about.
No, it's always fun to get Walking Dead talk on the channel when it doesn't normally happen.
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah.
So we're going to end earlier today because we're doing the Batman versus Superman thing in about 25 minutes. So, Rascal, let's go ahead and just open up to open forum, and we'll do that for
guys.
about 10 minutes.
Flood the questions in.
Yes, anything and everything. And save the Batman versus Superman and DC Film Universe stuff for the actual Batman versus Superman video we're doing afterwards.
Yeah.
I know people are going to ask about stuff like the future of it in the box office and such, but we won't talk about that right now.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, while people are posting questions, what are you guys excited for on DC Rebirth, now that that's all out there?
I'm so unfamiliar with DC in general. I don't really know what to think about a lot of the stuff that they announced. I'm excited for Wonder Woman.
Nice.
And honestly, I think as much as watching the spoiler cast might make you think otherwise, I really enjoyed Wonder Woman in Batman vs. Superman. So it made me kind of excited to get to know more about her character because I don't really know a lot. So.
And also, Gotham Academy is coming back for that, right? For Rebirth?
Yep.
There's that.
Yep. Gotham Academy is safe, and a couple weeks ago they announced that they're doing a Gotham Academy crossover with Lumberjanes, which is another comic that I really like, so I'm all for it. Gotham Academy is one of 2 DC books that I'm reading right now, so.
I don't read single issues anymore, but I might start picking them up with Greg Rucka Wonder Woman and the whole new Superman book. That sounds awesome. Rascal, what about you?
I haven't looked at it actually yet.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sorry, guys, but I'm just ignorant. I'm ignorant.
That's fine. You're a disappointment, but that's okay.
We're not mad, just disappointed.
My ignorance. We have questions now. What'd you say?
Do we have any
questions?
Oh yeah, we do. This is. Are you guys excited for Preacher?
Kind of. I mean, I got the whole series for Christmas, and I've been reading through that, and it's just so intelligent and philosophical and brutal and deep, and I just don't know if we're going to get that on TV.
I don't know anything about Preacher, so yeah.
Like the big comparison is like if you can do Walking Dead on TV, you can do Preacher on TV, but the difference is it's one thing to have people's guts ripped out, it's another to do a TV show that's literally trying to kill God. Like, it's a very different animal, and I just don't know if they're going to get away with half the stuff that book does. There was an entire issue about an Irish Revolution and Cassidy the Vampire and how he got to New York, and it's one of the most heart-wrenching, interesting things ever, and you just can't do it on TV. At least not without complete freedom. So, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm interested, but not excited.
I'm intrigued after that very brief synopsis.
It's the star of it's the guy who plays Howard Stark.
Ooh.
So
now I'm really intrigued. I'm excited now. I changed my answer. From what little I know, I am excited.
Here's a question from Robert Emmett. Are you guys excited for Darth Maul and Darth Vader returning for the finale? Think 2 Sith Lords will duke it out.
They're here for the final. They're here to take their exams, and it'll be great. Darth Maul's only got 2 pencils.
He doesn't have an eraser.
Yeah, he doesn't have an eraser. I haven't watched the last couple episodes. I'm excited if I knew the context. I need to catch up on that show.
I watched anything of this season, so. That sounds interesting, though.
I'm excited in theory.
Darth Maul is one of the only things I like about the prequels, so.
Yeah. And I mean, I liked him in Clone Wars. His character arc didn't make any sense, but he was cool to watch. So, I mean, if they keep that up, I'll be alright with it.
This is from Proto Myth Poetry. Do you
That's
think
just such a
Kylo?
cool name, by the
Yeah,
way.
it is. It is a cool name. You win Cool Name of the Week, Proto Myth Poetry. Do you think Kylo Ren will get a Darth name in Episode 8?
I
No,
hope not.
I
Yeah, I
don't think
hope
so.
not. I like him as a Knight of Ren. When we learn what that means and more.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
there's
like.
also that Red Letter Media thing of it's like, oh, he's a bad guy, so his name is Darth. Like, it's just, I don't know if it's actually as, it's kind of stupid when you think about it. I don't know. Depends
Yeah,
on who you're
I don't know.
asking.
I can't say anything. My favorite property is Lord of the Rings, and they have things like Mount Doom. So sometimes stuff just needs to be really obviously named. I'm okay with it.
The Batman does not do subtle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like the whole idea of Knights of Ren. I like the idea of recreating the Sith Order without actually being the Sith Order. I like that whole remix idea that the first movie was about. So I don't need them to be Darth. If they do that, I would want a really good character reason for it.
I mean, Kylo Ren already has another name. Like, that isn't his name. His name is Ben Solo. So, like, he already has done the whole Darth thing. He just didn't use the word Darth.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It'd be interesting if, like, he tries to remake himself and goes by Darth Vader. But that would be a whole different animal than just getting a Darth title.
I'm sorry, that just really reminded me of the emo Kylo Ren Twitter.
I love that.
With all of his just, like, obsessing over Darth Vader.
Oh, I love that Twitter account so much. He's even gonna get himself his legs chopped off and burned and
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, Rasco?
This is from Joel Davis. Do you think the Star Wars films will use anything from the old EU, or will they go for their own thing and not bring any of it up?
I think that they've already started using stuff from the old expanded universe.
Yeah, they've used bits and pieces here and there. There's a lot of implied stuff in Clone Wars that just works that way, to where you have to, like, implicitly put it into canon.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of, like, old Jedi Order and old Sith Order stuff in the next movie, so even if they aren't going to take any of it literally, I'm sure they're still using it for inspiration. And I mean, I'm in the camp that I don't care that the expanded universe is gone, so let them go their way and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't care that much, but I know it's important to a lot of people, and I think that it would be smart of Disney and Lucasfilm to, like, pull on that, because they can get the fans behind them. I mean, obviously the fans are already behind them on Star Wars, but
well, I think the thing
just keeps the momentum.
The thing that I like that they're doing is, even if they don't use the things for the films, they're reprinting everything. So even if you don't get Expanded Universe on film, you have all of it in brand new trade paperbacks. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I really want at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, and it does seem like they're... Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
It seems like they're pushing a lot of the, like, Knights of the Old Republic, or just, like, the really old school stuff. Again, I haven't watched this season of Rebels, so I'm not sure if it's also in the show. But I know at Disneyland they have a new, like, live show where they go searching for the first Jedi Temple, and it's, like, a big deal that's what they're going for. So I don't know. If even in, like, little theme park shows they're going for that sort of stuff, I think that it's safe to say that that'll be a pretty big deal as the movies go forward.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. Rasco, let's do one last question, then we'll call it a night before we do Batman versus Superman.
All right, this is from Carl Maxey. What do you want to see most in Captain America: Civil War?
Anyone want to go first?
Oh, man. Just, like, lots of Bucky. I just miss Bucky.
Me too. Bucky's my favorite character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I love him. Yeah, more
I don't know if he's my favorite, but he's up there.
More Bucky, and I want to make sure Captain America and Iron Man get, like, an actual argument out of it. Like, we know it's focused on Cap. We know that these writers are really good at making motivation seem natural from the last couple movies. At the same time, it's got to feel like Iron Man has a point. And he does to a degree, but for that to work, Captain America needs to be wrong about something somewhere. And that hasn't happened yet. So if he's wrong about something in this movie, I think it goes a long way to help the rivalry mean something. So I want to see that.
I really want to make sure that no matter what, I hope that neither person is being manipulated necessarily. Well, I don't know if manipulated is the right word. I hope that it's not, and we're about to talk about this, I guess, when we get to the spoiler cast, but I really don't want it to be like all of these ideas, and the whole movie is like this conversation. And then we get to the end, and like the actual fight has nothing to do with the conversation being had. That's what I really don't want.
Fight, it's got to be ideological. It can't just be contrived events.
Yes.
And I think that like it's important for, especially with like, not to get political, but especially with like the current climate of the United States, like I think it's important to show two very different sides having very different opinions, and not like implicitly be like this person is wrong, or that they're being forced into like blackmailed or anything like that into like thinking one way or the other, because that's part of what makes the Civil War comic like intriguing and stuff. And the fact that this is like a popular storyline is because you have two characters that you can kind of see where they're both coming from, and it's not a black and white, this person is right and this person is wrong.
And the MCU has been really good about setting up why Captain America and Iron Man would hate each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like forever ago, like 2-3 years ago, I did a review of Iron Man on my channel, and I couldn't help but bring up stuff about Captain America when I was talking about just the first Iron Man movie. And then when Cap did his review of the first Avenger, he did the same thing with talking about the first Iron Man movie. They're just so naturally opposed to each other that you don't have to make it that conflict artificial.
Yeah.
So that's going to be it for us right now. We just talked about two superheroes going at it, and now we're going to go talk again about two superheroes going at it for about an hour and a half. Join us over for the next live show. There's another stream for Batman vs. Superman, but if you're in the blue chat, you can just stay there, so don't worry about that. Lo, Rasco, thanks for joining me for Crisis.
Yeah, man.
We'll be back in about 13 minutes to talk to you about that film. Until then, stay tuned.
Au revoir.